I ran out of time on my last video where I was talking about everything being just incredibly absurd and dumb and stupid, but also dangerous. And, one example of that is what Tulsi Gabbard's been doing for the last 2 weeks when she released that bullshit declassified report saying that Obama and Hillary and Biden and James Clapper and James Brennan and James Comey, all your deep state favorites, engaged in a seditious, treasonous coup against Donald Trump at the end of 2016, inventing the whole conspiracy that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to benefit Donald Trump and to hurt Hillary Clinton. Tulsi Gabbard's declassified report, which first of all she put out to try to save her own ass. She was out. She had lost her seat at the table after contradicting Donald Trump publicly about Iran's nuclear weapons capabilities and their nuclear weapons program. And he said a couple of times that she doesn't know what she's talking about and she's wrong. So she was on the outs. So she ginned up this whole thing to save her own ass. The timing on it was perfect because it's in the middle of all of this Epstein shit that's going on. And so Trump has been ginning it up. Fox News and right-wing media have been ginning this up. And now the MAGA base expects that Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden and those other guys whose names I listed, the MAGA base expects that they are going to be arrested and put on trial for treason. And it ignores so much factual information of what is documented that Russia actually did to interfere in the 2016 election for Trump's benefit and to the detriment of Hillary Clinton. I did a 45-minute long podcast about this a week and a half ago. It's up on my YouTube page. It is so absurd and it is so dumb and stupid, but it rekindled that bloodthirstiness against Obama and Biden and Hillary and the deep state on the part of the MAGA base. And you could see somebody really get hurt from that. And Tulsi just made it up just to save her own ass. And all of this bullshit that we're seeing right now with the Epstein files and Pam Bondi and Ghislaine Maxwell and Todd Blanche and Trump, and he's neck deep in that shit. And the Wall Street Journal confirmed this week that Donald Trump's name appears multiple times throughout the Epstein file. Not a surprise to anybody normal. And his former criminal defense attorney, who's now the number 2 guy at DOJ, spent 2 days meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell and her attorney. As far as we know, nobody else was in the room but those 3 people. There were no witnesses. But Jeffrey Epstein's victims are getting dragged through this shit all over again. I mean, it has dominated every news cycle for the last 2 or 3 weeks. And they don't have a choice about that. They don't have a choice about any of that. And part of what called into question the 2007 sweetheart deal that Jeffrey Epstein got in Florida, engineered by then U.S. Attorney for the southern half of Florida, Alex Acosta, who went on to become a cabinet member in Donald Trump's first administration. That deal was illegal because, as required by statute, the U.S. Attorney had to involve the victims. He had to inform them. He had to give them an opportunity to speak at Epstein's sentencing. And he didn't do any of that intentionally. They found out about it after it was done. And they're getting dragged through this shit all over again. 6 years after the guy's death, allegedly. I mean, so the victims are all getting victimized essentially for a third time. Once by surviving Jeffrey Epstein in person and all of his friends. Second, what Alex Acosta did to them in 2007. And third, now they're just, it's, the media is consumed with it again. And I'm sure they can't escape it. I mean, one survivor, Virginia Giuffre, took her own life earlier this year. And again, you know, it's like I've made the point that the MAGA base, elected Republicans, they don't give a shit about victims. They care about perpetrators. And the only reason that we know the name Laken Riley is not because she was horrifically murdered, but because she was horrifically murdered by an undocumented immigrant. And now there was a piece of legislation with her name on it. The Laken Riley Act. Where's the Virginia Giuffre Act? And it's like, again, everything is absurd and dumb and stupid, but now it's also dangerous. So I'm just venting. I'm just venting so that I can clear my head out of this shit before I try to go to sleep. I don't know where all of this is going to go. I don't know what this country's going to look like in 3.5 years. I don't know if the midterms are even going to matter in 1.5 years, because it's like we're going to be choosing between the party where they're now just openly admitting that they are fascists. We get to choose between them and the AIPAC party, the Democrats. That doesn't feel like a very good choice to me. But, you know, what do I know? So I'm going to try to get some sleep. And I hope everybody is able to do the same this weekend. Be safe, stay out of trouble.